An American proposal to end the war in Ukraine puts the country in a delicate diplomatic position, caught between placating its most important ally, the United States, and not capitulating to Russia, its much larger neighbor that launched a full-scale invasion nearly 4 years ago. According to Associated Press, the 28-point peace plan was crafted by U.S. President Donald Trump's administration and the Kremlin, without Ukraine's involvement. It acquiesces to many Russian demands that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has categorically rejected on dozens of occasions, including giving up large pieces of territory. Russian President Vladimir Putin welcomed the proposal late Friday, saying it could form the basis of a final peace settlement if the U.S.
28-point plan has been out there. There's a report that you gave to Zelensky until next Thursday to essentially agree to it. He is saying all the right things. He's open to it. He's meeting with Dan Driscoll, your Secretary of the Army. But some of the points on there that are, I guess everything's in flux until it's done. No one has to tell you about a deal. It looks like Ukraine has to cut their personnel to 600,000. It looks like they got to give up some land that they have not lost in the war. They cannot join NATO.
They will lose in a short period of time.
The whole of Donbass.
They're losing land. They're losing land.
So
we're in it for one thing. We want the killing. You know, they lost 25,000 people last month between the two countries. 25,000 people. It's out of control. It's a bloodbath. Remember the famous word, bloodbath?
Right.
Remember when they tried to make that an interesting?
But you know that if you don't stop him in Ukraine, he's going to have problem. They're going to be another. The Baltics are going to be in trouble.
Well, they'll be stopped. He's not looking for more war. He's taking punishment. Say what you want. I mean, this was supposed to be a one-day war that ended 4 years now. Okay, but in all fairness, we gave them the best military. We make the best equipment in the world. We gave Ukraine the best military equipment anywhere in the world. Nobody makes, and we gave them a lot of it. But somebody had to use that equipment. And say what you want. They were very brave. Do you agree with that?
They're great fighters. They're great fighters.
Right.
And the other thing, Mr. President, you're not pulling off the sanctions while you wait on the 28-point plan, because it seems like every time you do, Vladimir Putin wants you to stop
We have very
that.
strong sanctions.
So they go in today, don't they? Against Lukoil, and
They go in very soon, and they're very powerful. Very powerful. I mean, it makes it very hard to sell oil. That's a big thing. That's, their whole economy is based on oil. But no, I'm not doing anything having to do with taking back sanctions.
The fourth year of a full-scale war with Ukraine has led to the destruction of traditional governance mechanisms in Russia. Security agencies operate autonomously, and a systemic conflict is brewing within the government. Power is becoming an arena for escalating conflicts over sharply diminishing resources, writes Important Stories, citing sources close to the Kremlin and Russian security agencies. The system built by the Kremlin over 2 decades is disintegrating into autonomous interest groups that operate without regard for the center and are directly clashing with one another. One source says resources are rapidly dwindling and the struggle for them has become systemic and all-encompassing. According to him, no loyalty and no connections guarantee anything anymore. This state is characterized by the disappearance of previous informal agreements and the loss of the basic rules of the game that previously kept the elite within manageable boundaries. According to sources, representatives of the security agencies have stopped coordinating their actions with the government and the domestic policy bloc of the Putin administration. They are now acting autonomously, guided by their own interests. FSB officers also speak of an internal reversal within the repressive apparatus. One current officer admitted that all equipment and resources have been redirected toward wiretapping the government, regional administrations, and other agencies. The foreign agent designation, used for years to pressure the opposition and independent activists, is no longer a centralized tool of the presidential administration. According to sources, the designation is now being distributed without coordination with the Kremlin, and it includes owners of large businesses and even pro-government spokespeople. First Deputy Chief of the Presidential Administration, Sergei Kirienko, responsible for domestic policy since 2016, also found himself at the epicenter of this hidden struggle. Sources claim that security forces often detain officials, even those appointed by him, without prior notification to the presidential administration. The security services believe that the tension surrounding Kirienko is also due to his close ties with Yuri Kovalchuk, a shareholder in the bank Russia, who is considered the second person in the country after Putin in elite circles. For the security agencies, Kovalchuk remains a political rival, and the war has only exacerbated inter-clan tensions. According to sources, the longer Russia's war against Ukraine continues and the greater its impact on the Russian economy, the more acute the inter-clan conflicts become. Earlier, in an article for the Sunday Times, influential British commentator Mark Galeotti analyzes the decline of 72-year-old Putin, a man who once seemed a calculating and cold politician, but has now turned into an aging dictator who has lost touch with reality. Putin remains convinced he is a genius, but the reality is different. Everyone who ever dared to oppose him has disappeared, some in exile, some in prison, and some in the grave. Today, only sycophants and fanatics remain around him, repeating that everything is going according to plan. The reality, however, is different. The country is bleeding in Ukraine, the economy is crumbling, and the leader himself increasingly resembles a decrepit monarch locked in his own palace. Galeotti writes that the world is now dealing not just with Putin, but with Putin squared, a man who lost the ability to doubt and perceive the truth. He has surrounded himself with phantoms. He has stopped listening even to those closest to him, advisors, bankers, military officers. Any attempt to convey bad news to him ends in silence or scorched careers. Even his disastrous decision to invade Ukraine was born not out of strength, but out of fear of being forgotten, out of fear that history would write of him as the man under whom Russia fell apart. The result: millions of ruined lives, hundreds of thousands killed, dozens of cities razed to the ground. Putin is aging. He has less energy, less control, less trust in the people. He's afraid to appoint a successor for fear of looking like a lame duck. He's afraid of losing the war, but even more afraid of admitting he's already lost. He has locked himself in a golden cage, writes Galeotti. He is consumed by fear, paranoia, and the desire to appear great, although he has long been ridiculous. The Russian elite long ago stopped respecting him, but they still fear him. The country operates on autopilot, and the dictator himself dreams of only one thing: to have his name written into textbooks, not as a murderer, not as a coward, but as Russia's savior. But even that won't be granted. History has already decided, the British political scientist emphasizes.